Assalamu alaikum all of you. I am Farah Naz and today I am going to discuss the prominent figures of literature. आज की जो वीडियो है वो थोड़ी सी लंबी होगी लेकिन इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन है जो आप लोगों के बहुत काम आएगी इंशाल्लाह एंड ये लंबी इसलिए है बिकॉज इट विल कवर द prominent figures of literature. So the first prominent figure was Plato. Plato was a classical Greek philosopher, mathematician, writer of philosophical dialogues. He was interested in relationship with man-made and naturally occurring structures and the impact this had on people and society. In his book Republic, he explores the meaning of justice and asks the question, is the just man happier than the unjust man? Along with his mentor Socrates and his student Aristotle, Plato helped to lay foundations of Western philosophy and science. His philosophy includes knowledge is not sense perception, not what simply appears to me. Like Socrates, Plato also believes in virtue is knowledge. It is not abstract but concrete knowledge, not theoretical but practical knowledge. A man must know what is good so that he may do good. Human behavior flows from three main sources that are desire, emotion, and knowledge. People are like dirt. They can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wilt and die. Plato says that this world is shadow of shadows. He says the first and greatest victory is to conquer by yourself. The next figure was Aristotle. Aristotle is the towering figure in ancient Greek philosophy who made contributions to logic, criticism, and rhetoric, physics, and biology. He was the teacher of Alexander the Great. He was mainly concerned with tragedy, which was in his day the most development form of poetry. Aristotle emphasizes the physical structure and components of poetry above their moral meaning or instructional content. His famous work was the Poetics. Three unities of drama are present in Poetics, that are time, place, and action. Aristotle focused on plot, character, thought, language, and catharsis. Poetry is an imitative art in the eyes of Aristotle. These are two quotations that are said by Aristotle, and you can also use them in your course also. That the first one is happiness depends upon ourselves, and the second is the roots of education are bitter but the fruit is sweet. Now you can go towards the difference between Plato and Aristotle theory. Plato considered imitation merely as mimicry or a service copy of nature, but Aristotle interpreted as a creative process. Plato compared poetry to painting. Aristotle compared poetry to the music. Poetry presents a copy of nature as it is. Poetry is twice removed from reality and it's a shadow of shadows. But in Aristotle's view, poetry may imitate means they are of better as idealized version of reality. Plato takes up Cudgel on behalf of philosophy and shows that philosophy is superior than poetry. He takes up the Cudgels on behalf of poetry and effectively brings out its superiority. The next one is Alexander Pope. Pope influenced literature by his poetry, identifying and refining his own positions as a critic and poet. He was one of the greatest English poets, best known for his satirical and discursive poetry. His major works were on essay on criticism and essay on man. He is best known for his poems. He discussed the moral qualities and virtues inherent in ideal critics. In Essay on Man, actually it is the philosophical poem of Alexander Pope. Pope intended that this poem to be the centerpiece of a proposed system of ethics that was to be put forth in poetic form. The next is Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold is the prominent figure of modern English criticism. He says poetry is an application of ideas to life. In his point of view, experience is an important factor of life, and the only way to achieve satisfaction in life was through discovering our own nature and live in accordance with what it has to offer. He is noted especially for his classical attacks on the contemporary tastes and manners of the barbarians, the Philistines, and populace. Arnold's word is deeply humanistic. If the application of ideas is powerful, the poetry will become great. He felt that poetry should be the criticism of life and express a philosophy. He gives the definition of poetry as poetry is simply the most beautiful, impressive, and widely effective mode of saying things. He also says that if the application of ideas is powerful, the poetry will become great. The next poet was primarily a poet, not a critic. According to him, poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. This refers to the nature of poetry. He is a supreme worshipper of nature. Nature has a pivotal position in his poetry. He conceived nature as a living personality. Nature comes to occupy in his poem a separate or independent status. His love of nature was truer and more tender. However, his views on poetry are extremely important and can be found in preface to lyrical ballads also. Poetry is a matter of feeling and mood. It flows from internal feelings of the poet. For him, nature is the mother and sister. He finds the presence of God in nature for what he calls pantheism. He says nature ever did betray the heart that loved her, and says, "Come forth into the light of things, let nature be your teacher." The next one is Dryden. Dryden was a literary critic. He is seen as dominating literary life of Restoration. He is best known as diarist. According to him, poetry and painting are not only true imitations of nature but of best nature. It is believed that after Shakespeare, Dryden wrote the greatest heroic play of the century, The Conquest of Granada. He says, "Beware of fury of a patient man, and we must make our habits, and then our habits make us." The generally accepted view of poetry in Dryden's day was that it had to be a close initiation of facts past or present, while the poet is free to initiate things as they are said or thought to be. He also gives spirited defense of poets' right to initiate what could be, might be, or ought to be. The next is Sidney, and this is the last one, so don't worry and listen it carefully. Sidney was the Renaissance person. He was an English poet, career, one of the most prominent figures of Elizabethan age. He was also known for his works including Astrophils and Still, an apology for poetry, and literary criticism known as the Defense of Poetry. Actually, he rejects the 4 arguments against poetry. And the 4 arguments was: poetry is waste of time, poetry is mother of lies, poetry is nurse of abuse, and poetry was banished from Plato's Republic. To Sidney, poetry is art of imitation for specific purpose. It is imitated to teach and to delight. According to him, poetry is simply a superior means of communication, and its value depends on what is communicated. So even history, when it is described in lively and passionate expression, gives its poetic sense. Thank you.